and good evening. Happy birthday to all of you. Well, provided all of you are celebrating your 35th birthday like Mario, like Derek here.
Yeah, he's only 2 years older than me.
No,
Exactly, Mario.
let's go with it. You got to pretend to be 35, man.
No, man, I'm
Oh,
vain. Every year
okay. Well,
counts.
well, Mario, not vain, proudly bearing his age for all to see, as this is the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Brothers series in the world? The whole world, right? Not just America. Okay.
I believe it
It's
would
not
be the
just
whole
North
world.
America's branding.
Because I think it is. Yes, I believe it came out in 1985. But
1985. What a year.
but that would not count Donkey Kong.
The Chicago
So
Bears were Super Bowl shuffling, and Mario
they were.
was climbing the charts like never before.
Our
Yeah, that's
parents
right.
got married.
Yeah, and 35 years later,
Yeah.
parents still married, Bears still shuffling.
It,
Uh,
thanks,
yeah,
Mario. Keeping our
and keeping the
parents
Bears
together.
shuffling. Yeah, they've never been
That's
better,
right.
some would say. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, welcome. Yeah,
Mitchy
yeah,
football.
he's all right. He's the Super Mario of NFL quarterbacks.
Correct.
The Super Mario from maybe like Hotel Mario.
He's like what's his what's the actor's name from the Mario movie?
uh, John Leguizamo is Luigi.
He's a
That's
yeah. He's
that's
John
Luigi.
Oh no,
No,
no. He's Bob
oh
Hoskins, I
yes,
believe.
right. Okay, yes, it is Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. He's the Bob Hoskins of the franchise.
Rest in peace. Anyways, on a less somber note, we're here with this special edition of All of the Day After Dark, the special first edition.
The real first
The
edition
real
got
first
rained
edition was
out
postponed
because
indefinitely, much, yeah,
thanks
much like the
Nintendo.
rest of Nintendo's holiday plans. But either way, we're here to celebrate Mario's 35th anniversary the only way we know how, by totally tearing down several of the greatest games ever made. We've both been sharpening our knives all day with the intention of definitively ranking the mainline Super Mario games. Derek, are your knives sharpened?
They're quite sharp, and then I want to point out that we in general rate importance less than journalism outlets do. So I feel like let's get out in front. Super Mario Brothers 1, probably the most important one. I'm not to speak for you, but I'm pretty sure that is not the top of your
Well,
list
I
either.
don't want to spoil anything, but
But yes,
no, certainly
um,
not. No,
yeah.
importance,
So
not what
so
we're looking at.
is a factor, but
A
not the most.
factor, kind
Not
of,
not
but for the most part, I am looking at how much I enjoyed these games, or depending on
same.
how much how much apathy I have for some of these, which one I appreciate more. But we'll touch on that as we get into the list. So some qualifications and some expectation setting. So it is a this is going to be an official ranking of Mario's. It is official. It's going to be sent to the National Archives to be cemented as the canonical ranking of Mario games. It is going to be a ranking of
Yes.
15 mainline Mario games. So the 15 is,
Please define what
well,
mainline
I'm
means
glad you asked
before you
because
go
I
any
was about to
further.
define it before you rudely interrupted me to ask how I'm defining it.
Apologize.
You
Apologies.
rudely interrupted to ask the thing I was about to explain. This is my whole life.
Such is
Anyways,
life. Get
so
used
I
to it,
looked at
teacher.
Nintendo's timeline of all of the mainline Mario games according to them, and I used that to make this list, though I did make some adjustments. For one, since we live in North America, I'm certain the Japanese side is different, but they did not include the Lost Levels. I put that on our list of nominees, though I do not expect it will fare well. No spoilers. And also, they included things like Super Mario Maker, which I felt like would throw too much of a wrench into things. So I removed
And that's
that
cheating.
because that is a difficult game to compare to these.
That would be like ranking All Stars.
Well, yes,
It's just
yes,
not.
I did not include
It's
All
not
Stars
fair.
or any of the remakes. So no Super Mario 64 DS. I'm sorry, all 5 people who think that's the best version of Super Mario 64. Uh,
You're
you're
wrong if
wrong.
you think that
Um,
way.
a few things though to that list. Let me read the list so that people at home can hear what we're working from. So there's Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, nay, Super Mario Brothers
Hey,
USA, Derek, Super Mario
hey.
Brothers 3, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, New Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Galaxy, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Super Mario 3D Land, New Super Mario Brothers 2, which I add parenthetically, can you believe came out after 3D Land? New Super Mario Brothers
I
U,
know.
Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Run, and Super Mario Odyssey. And so a few things from this list, you know, mostly a pretty good list, and I think I can work with all of these. There were 2 things, and I kind of discussed them with you before recording this, Derek, but I figured we'd also hash it out in front of the live studio audience so they can laugh and the
Sure.
audience can hear them laugh along with us. So first and foremost, the new Super Mario Brothers games are pretty much the same, give or take a few
Yeah.
features.
They have different, like New Super Mario Brothers 2 has the
Yes,
coin gimmick, but
they're
they're
mostly
mostly
the
the same.
same. We had the multiplayer, 2 has the coins, you the squirrel suit, I guess. And,
We made a joke before they announced the 3D World collection that they made a new Super Mario Brothers collection. You could click on the wrong game and not even
yes, and
realize
for
it.
that reason, we can just put those as one. Do you agree to that? Okay,
I
that is
completely
so New
agree.
Super Mario Brothers will all be lumped into one bundle spot because I am not going to sit here and pick apart the differences between those games. It does not interest me, nor should it interest
But I
anybody.
heard from a Polygon article that New Super Mario Brothers U was the best one in the franchise.
In time, in time. The last one, which you've put on here with a question mark, and I was going to ask you, this one does throw a wrench into things. Conspicuously missing from Nintendo's list is Yoshi's Island, and I say conspicuously because not once but twice in this game's history it has been labeled a Mario game. It was Super Mario World 2 on the Super Nintendo and Super Mario Advance 3 on the Game Boy Advance. So they have called it a Mario game twice, and yet it was left off the list. So what do you say? Should we throw it in there?
Well, I I'm kind of mixed on this one because it doesn't play like a Mario game. It started the Yoshi franchise and it plays like a Yoshi franchise. So if we were to include Yoshi's Island, we'd have to include Mario Land 3, the Wario Land game. And we really want to open that can of worms. I say no. So I think for the sake of easiness, we should leave Yoshi's
All right,
Island out.
I'm deleting Yoshi's Island from the list. Know that it would be pretty high. So
It would have been high on mine. It would have
that's
caused chaos because I have a pretty tight top of the list and would have had to wedge
much
its
like
way into the
Mario
middle of
Maker,
it.
its existence would have made this list problematic.
So I apologize, Yoshi heads. It's not
The one good
today's not
Yoshi
your day.
game, when we rank the Yoshi games, we can we can really spend an hour talking about that and then the myriad ways that they failed to follow up on
We would rank Yoshi's Island 1 and then unranked every
it.
other Yoshi game.
Yeah, oh, especially that new Yoshi's Island. What was it? Was that what it was called on the 3DS?
Yeah, I believe
The
it
one where they just
was.
kind of gave up
But I mean,
trying to do anything different, and they're just
well, they gave up trying with Yoshi's story, but that's another
that's
story
another
for another
Yoshi
day, I'm
story
afraid.
for another day. I was
Yes,
very
yes,
excited for
indeed.
that game. Any
Me too.
Yeah.
What a letdown.
Anywho, I think the way we should approach this is I think we should approach this from the bottom up to start. And then once we get
Agreed.
further up, we can maybe set aside a few that we know are going to be towards the top and hash out the middle section. But I feel like the bottom section
Okay.
has some obvious contenders. And I should mention,
I feel like our bottoms are going to look very
probably,
similar.
yeah,
No
yes,
pun.
well, we are brothers, so. Uh,
Yes, true
but
enough.
But jokes aside, I there are 16 games on this list, but only 15 can be ranked. So the first, uh, shall we say, what do they call that in the draft, in the NFL draft? Mr. Insignificant, Mr.
Mr.
Irrelevant, not
Irrelevant, Mr.
insignificant. Okay,
Irrelevant.
so we need to decide Mr. Irrelevant. The
Well, see, Mr. Irrelevant's drafted at least. Number 16 would be undrafted. They'd be an undrafted free agent, Jason White, for all Oklahoma
wow,
Sooner fans
that's a
out there.
really deep cut. I mean, I guess he's a Heisman winner, so not that deep, but deeper than I was expecting to get into Oklahoma.
Well, certainly no one that stumbled upon this podcast randomly would
Oh
know who
man, I
that
remember him. He
is.
was bald. It was really strange.
He was.
So I think we're gonna start fighting about this pretty quickly. I have a suspicion I know what you think should be Mr. Irrelevant. So go ahead and say.
I mean, it's between
Right?
two of them. So my choice was Super Mario Run because it is flavored like my least favorite Mario, the new Super Mario Brothers, and it is a mobile game. So I hate both those things. So it becomes my number 16.
Okay. What
Easy.
was your other? Just so I can get some context.
The one that is graphically based off of New Super Mario Brothers franchise. I think those games are lazy in assembly line, and like when the Wii U launched and like we're launching a Mario game and like yes, and I said New Super Mario Brothers U. You could feel the air just deflate.
It's way too early to
room.
fight about this.
It's like who cares? That was where I was. So spoiler, that's my number 15, New Super Mario Brothers franchise.
But we have to agree, and I don't know if I mentioned. I think
true.
I did, but I should probably clarify again. This is a definitive list, so we have to agree like scientists. So I'm going to tell you why it's not Super Mario Run, and I'm going to tell you what it is afterward. Super Mario Run is fine. I own it. I've played it. I finished it. It is a mobile game, which obviously is a problem, and it is flavored like New Super Mario Brothers, the cilantro of the Mario Brothers franchise, because just tossed in there haphazardly with its bad music and bland graphics and uninspired level design. Yes, all of that, the Dancing Koopa and all that. But at the end of the day, it is fine. It is completely playable. When I bought it, I enjoyed it, and for a mobile game, it is not especially exploitative. You pay $10 and you get the whole package. You don't have to worry about microtransactions. Right. It was Nintendo's first mobile game, I think.
Was it? I think it was Miitomo.
Well, okay. It was their first mobile game, not their first mobile experience. Actual game. Whatever Miitomo was. So I thought it was decent, and the game that I think really belongs or doesn't belong in this list, and maybe this will be more controversial than I thought, is The Lost Levels. I think that game is the antithesis of everything I want in a Mario game, and pretty much the entire series as a whole.
Well, I don't like Lost Levels either. It is also low on my list. What I have in favor of it, though, is that it's styled after Mario 1, so it looks good. It is also given like a boost by Mario All Stars, which is not fair, but it's the fact.
How does that boost it?
Well, it looks good. And it was our first exposure to it. So there's that.
So you're basing this entirely on graphics.
Yeah. I think it looks better than the mobile Mario game. That's the only defense I have of it, because I don't like Lost Levels either. I think the poison mushroom thing is really like a terrible idea. The level design is just punishing for no good reason. Nintendo made the right call by choosing to release, Doki Doki Panic as a ROM hack for Mario 2 over here. But I just really don't like New Super Mario Brothers, and like the mobile Mario game is like the definition, like the poster boy for it.
The Lost Levels is such a hateful game. It is so unpleasant to play. It is like, when I think of Mario, I want challenge, which we'll address at some point, but I don't want it to be like punishing. I don't want it to be
You don't have to be
I
baby's
don't
first
want
game.
it to be Dark Souls. I want it to be something that is approachable at first, quite easy and just joyful to play, and then as you get further, it gives you a little bit of a challenge. But Lost Levels is not fun from the get.
Well, that's why the poison mushroom bit's bad because it's
Yeah,
colored like a normal one,
yeah.
so you
So it's
can't
not
even
fun from the
avoid it.
get go. It's unfair. If someone came up to me, put a gun to my head, and said, "Pick Super Mario Run or Lost Levels," like you're gonna play it right now, I'd easily whip out my phone and re-download a Super Mario Run and go at it. There's no question about it. I won't even. I'm playing All Stars right now because they just released it on Switch, and there's no way I'm gonna touch Lost Levels. It's just not gonna happen. That is a very unpleasant Mario game. I don't like it.
I am willing to. I didn't think I'm willing to cede that one just
I'm trying to
because
curry some favor for
I'm
later
thinking
down the
about
road.
like no, no, no. I'm thinking about your point where at least the new Super Mario Brothers games, while we have our issues with them, they're playable. Like if we went back and replayed them right now, we could do it, and it wouldn't be too like cumbersome of an experience. But if we replayed Lost Levels, we'd make it, I don't know, like 1-4,
Yeah,
just like that's it, we're done.
we'd be bored and
So
angry and all of those things. And with Run and New Super Mario Brothers, we'd be, you know, I,
I'd play for 5 minutes and say this is boring and dull,
I
and
wouldn't
then
go,
I'd move
I
on.
wouldn't go
But
that
at
far.
least it
I
wouldn't be a
wouldn't go
bad
that far.
experience.
I think,
I would because I played Mario Run and I was like, this is really boring
oh,
after like
I
five
wasn't talking about
minutes, and I
Mario
quit.
Run. I was talking
So,
about the others.
well, I know, but either way, really, to be honest with
All
you,
right, so it sounds like you're ceding ground to me, and you're gonna say the
yeah, on this
15th
one,
best mainline Mario game of all time is Super Mario Run. Congratulations. Can I just save us a little bit of time and say New Super Mario Brothers, the number 14 best?
definitely. Can we talk about how why
Yes.
we don't
Why
like it?
you lead?
I mean, I
You're a little
briefly
more
touched on it.
passionate than I am, but we have them. This is actually exactly where I had it on my personal list that I made to prepare. So go you start.
Well, I feel like the new Super Mario Brothers franchise, it was like a sign of doom for Mario. I was worried we'd never get another good one while these things were running because they seem to be like the only ones Nintendo would focus on, and it's these boring side-scrolling Mario games that have like generic level design, kind of like boilerplate factory line graphics. Like if Tokyo RPG Factory made a Mario game, it would look like New Super Mario Brothers. It has the worst music. It's got the wah wah stuff. The only one that I actually like and actively replay is New Super Mario Brothers U, and I don't know why. It's just the one that I like the most. So I think it is a dark mark in an otherwise great franchise.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I dislike them, but it was something where, you know, I made my list of nominees in order of release. And so you went from New Super Mario Brothers, you had Galaxy, which we'll get to much later. And then you had New Super Mario Brothers Wii,
Yes.
and you had a little bit of a power gap after that, but then you had 2 and U back to back, and it did feel like that the Mario series was starting to become very clinical, right? Like these games are
Now let me,
functional. I don't think any of them are
but they had it down to like a
right. It was
chemical
they were
equation,
making it mathematically instead of with any heart or spirit.
at
Yeah.
heart. um, Now I will. To be fair to New Super Mario Brothers One, I wonder if it would rank higher if it had just been like the one shot that it was supposed to be. Because I remember when it came out, the hype around it was for the first time in forever a
Yeah.
2D Mario
It w-
game. So I wonder if it could be judged on a different level if
I
not for
think
the
I
sequels.
think if they had cut it off after Wii, it might be different because I was quite fond of the Wii game when that came out. Well,
It
yeah, I
sold
really
quite
like that
well.
one. I didn't really like the DS one that much. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a little disappointing. The Wii one I felt like really cemented that series. It was when the 3DS and Wii U one came around that you really started to see like, okay, it's the same World One, the same World Two, the same World Three, same types of boss fights, same everything. Like you're just repeating and repeating over and over and over. I say that as someone who dutifully finished New Super Mario Brothers 2, but I mean, it was more just because of a function of the time. I was in college, it fit nicely between my classes. But man, those games just started to become so generic, and you just had to wonder if it was ever going to recover. And
It
it
did,
did. But
but
man, it didn't seem like it when they announced New Super Mario Brothers U as the launch Mario with the Wii U. It was like, wow, the
oh, I was
first HD
defeated.
Mario is this HD version of this game that we've already played 3 times. And mind you, it's a fine game. A lot of people would say it's the best of those games. You know, you mentioned earlier a certain website ranked it as the best Mario ever, which is ludicrous. But
It's
all that said,
farcical.
I think the main idea of those games is that while fine and playable and in the right context, multiplayer, even pretty fun, just not really very creative or interesting, especially after you've played one of them. You've kind of seen the whole thing.
Yeah, you kind of
I think
get
you have
the
a good
idea.
point about the first one.
Um,
If this wasn't on there, it might compete with something like Super Mario Land and Land 2, which I suspect will come up soon.
you
But,
suspect correct.
I think that it would be more competitive with those had this not happened, but we can't change history. That was just
That's
that
the
was
way
just how it
cookie
that's just how it
crumbles, I'm
happened.
afraid.
So, we've cemented 15 and 14 Super Mario Run and New Super Mario
Well,
Brothers.
let me nominate number
Okay.
13 right away. Super Mario
All right,
Land.
now I think we might have a reverse on this because I do you have them being Land and Land 2?
I do
You
not have them
don't,
back to
okay.
back
So why Land and not Land 2?
because I think Land 2 is more. It feels more like a console Mario than like the original Land. As weird as that may sound, like it feels like it. If they upgraded it a little bit, it might fit on the NES. I feel like Land's appeal is that it's kind of
All
weird.
right,
It's
and
kind
that's
of
why
unique.
to me Land is a
Um,
little more interesting because
but it's like
it
20
is
minutes
it's
long.
super short.
It's
It's I appreciate that, and I think if I was playing this back then, because this was actually one of our first Game Boy games, so I have quite a bit of nostalgia for the second Super Mario Land.
well, I don't know. The way I look at Mario Land is like if it didn't have the like the Mario franchise attached to it, it would be like a forgotten GB platformer. I think Mario Land 2 might be like something some really hardcore nerd might come up. It's like, oh, this is the hidden gem of the Game Boy. So I think Land would just be forgotten in the history if it wasn't attached to Mario.
I think that's certainly possible. For me, especially thinking about which one I'd rather play now, if I were to play Land 2, I'd feel like, oh wow, you know, a really this is just a lesser console Mario. There's really no reason to play this. Whereas Land is like at least a weird trip down memory lane with Mario hopping in a plane, and you have shmup levels. Like it's just for a Mario game, it's very strange. So I guess
Yes.
in saying that, I can see a case for why it would be lower than 2. So
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you have like a spare 25 minutes, it's fine. But I just when I weigh the two, I think like lands. It just would be forgotten the time,
it's a more
in my
interesting
opinion.
game. I'm gonna cede that one to you. I knew you were doing me a favor earlier, so I could repay you later. I didn't think it'd be so quick. All
Yeah, that's what I had in
right, so
mind.
Super Mario Land, the
Um,
13th best Mario. I have them back to back. You have something else in between. I think I know what it is.
you can do that. I'm probably being a little harsh on my
Well,
next one, so
I'm
I'm gonna
pretty.
let you put Land 2 there because I feel like the conversation about Land 2 was kind of going that they're kind of lumped together. They're
They're
kind
pretty
of neck and
similar
neck.
games. Well, I mean they kind of are. Land is like really ugly looking too, compared to 2, which looks like. Well,
It looks
Land
fine.
looks like worse than Super Mario Brothers itself, of course. Right,
Well,
but
it's a
Land
Game
2
Boy game.
actually looks like a fairly decent
Yeah, I
when
agree
you
with
look
that.
back at it. It's, you know, well, God, the Game Boy had like a 20-year lifespan. it it was like
Too
halfway through it
long.
probably. Um,
Like the 3DS, it should have been mercy killed like a year or two sooner.
no.
Speaking of the 3DS,
Oh,
you were absolutely correct about what my next game was.
yeah, I don't agree, but go ahead.
3D Land is, in my opinion, one of the most overrated games of all time. I think it is up there with Shadow of Mordor for that title. When it came out, every single reviewer was talking about how it's like one of the best Mario games ever, which
Well,
made me
okay,
legitimately
just to
angry.
butt in, and this is I knew this was going to happen eventually. This happens every time a new Mario game comes out, though, because you know,
I
Land,
understand, but for this one in
World,
particular, it made me
um,
angry because
what was the other one that I remember New Super Mario Brothers Wii. A lot of every time one of these new Mario
well,
games came out, there was at least one publication that said best X Mario game ever.
well, I remember, and not to name drop other podcasts, but it is important here. On the Bombcast, um, Patrick Klepek was talking about how it's like the best one, and I was just outraged. Mario 3D Land is like dirt easy. It's like a baby game until halfway through when they're like when you beat the game, they're like, all right, we're gonna make it a little challenging, and even when it's a little challenging, it is still really
Well,
easy. It is
yeah,
like
that was
a
always my
baby
main
game.
problem with it was that I did read a lot of that coverage back then. It got rave reviews, and I think in a lot of ways it does earn some of those because it plays very well. I mean, I think
Yes,
and I remember what I thought at the time, if you were translating the 2D Mario experience to the third dimension, you get Super Mario 3D Land. That is exactly what it is. And they do a great job of it, and it
yes.
feels great to play. I've finished it probably two or three times because I do enjoy it. But much like you, I read these reviews and they were talking up how difficult it becomes after the halfway point, and it's more challenging than so many other Mario games, and it's just not true. It is so mind-numbingly easy for the first, you know, 10 hours or whatever it takes to get through the main story. And then for the back half, it's still easy. The challenge, and this is a problem from this era of Mario, the challenge totally comes from whether or not you want to collect the three golden coins in each level. And that's it.
And even that's
It
really
is. It's
easy.
mostly just about
Because I don't
looking
think they're.
around.
I feel like as far as the coin hunting goes, it is easier than any of like the more modern Mario's. Like it's easier to find them in there than in 3D World or
Yeah, it's usually just a matter
um,
of like, not
the new
running
Super
through the
Mario Brothers
levels.
games.
It's just a matter of, taking your time, which is fine. And, what?
I I should mention that I also don't like how, in my opinion, the only hard level in the game is like the one you unlock by beating the game
I was about to say
twice
this.
by jumping on every flagpole as
Yes.
Luigi and Mario, which I think is such padding
Yeah.
bullshit. And I hated that, and it just feels like a 3D version of New Super Mario Brothers to me. Because it's like the same
Mm,
kind of structure.
it's more
It's
creative. The
I don't
level design was like,
Oh,
which isn't
absolutely.
hard, but like, the levels, each level was, unique in some ways. Still not my favorite because, they're not, the levels aren't really cohesive. It's like you're going from weird world to weird world to weird world, which at least makes them more interesting than New Super Mario Brothers. But in
Yes. Oh, I agree with that.
the challenge is a real buzzkill. So the game I would offer instead, but I don't know.
I know
What?
what you're gonna say, and I disagree. So we're gonna be Mario
How do you
2
know? How did you know?
because I'm looking at what's to come, and that's the only thing that it could be that wouldn't like bring red
Okay.
flags.
Yeah, it would.
And I'll give you the my reason for why Mario 2 does not belong where at this spot, even though it belongs in like the next spot. um, Mario 2 was a good idea because I think it helped save the franchise in the West. I think if they released Lost Levels, I think it had a chance of killing Mario before
You really
Mario
think
3
so?
came out. So I think it would have turned a lot of people
Oh
off.
man,
They would have been like, this is
that seems
really
really
bad.
dramatic.
Uh, well, think about it. Like, it's like, well, then again, like, Zelda survived Zelda
Yes.
2. So
We're not ranking Zeldas. That's
so
next
maybe
year.
I'm being a bit yes. So maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but I feel like Mario 2 is like a more interesting game. Like it is completely different than anything else here. It's like got a really neat art style and aesthetic. I dig it. Um, I don't think it's like a great game. I think anyone that like says it's like a top 5 Mario is crazy. But I think 3D Land is just criminally overrated. So I want to see it represented here as thus, and I think Mario 2 is fine.
So
It's okay.
I think, and this is not a good argument, but I'm just going to say it. I have finished every single game on this list except for Super Mario Brothers 2.
Me too. Well, I beat that one,
And so I think
so
that says something about that game. Now, granted, I am actually playing it right now because that's, well, actually, it's embarrassing. I started playing All Stars and I started with 3 because that I just wanted to kind of get in quick,
hmm
and 3 is of those games, I think the best of those 3. And so I want to get in just quick, get some action in. And I forgot that,
yes.
games in the 90s did not always autosave. So when I loaded that game back up, my save was gone. So I was like, oh, I don't want to do that first world again right now. So I started to,
All
yeah,
five minutes
I
of
know.
three's
I
first one.
started to again, and I'm enjoying it more than I have in the past. A lot of my issues with 2
It's
are
got great
it has very
music.
good music. I do think the gameplay, though not what I'm necessarily looking for from a Mario, is fun in its own right. And I think some of the things they add to the Mario universe are valuable, like the Shy Guys. Like I like
Yeah.
Santo. I think that is a good tense bit of platforming they add in.
Phanto alone makes it better than 3D Land. 3D Land's got
Yeah,
nothing that
I
cool.
think a part of my issue with 2 is that it is such a meme at this point. Because Donkey, who I don't watch, and I have nothing against, but I know he always jokes about it being the game of the year every year. And
Well, he makes that joke about Knack. Like I don't care about
well,
what some
sure,
YouTuber
but
says.
that attitude about 2 has carried over into like any conversation about the Mario franchise has 2 elevated way higher than I think it deserves to be. So that's
Well, I think on this list we are for sure having it at 11 or 10. So I
so
don't think we're in danger of
because I
doing
see
that.
something down the road that I need to do everything in my power to make happen. I'm gonna give you 3D Land at 11, which I think is really low, or not really low because I actually had it at 10, but low.
I had it at
Oh
12.
wow, man, that's harsh.
um,
So I'll put that at 11, and then I'll put Super Mario Brothers 2 at 10. We can agree to this, okay? Because
yes, I agree to
I
that.
definitely don't I don't want Super Mario Brothers 2 creeping any higher than 10. That's too high.
No, I look at the games left and it doesn't
So
belong. I think there's a wide power gap between
and then
10 and
there's a
9.
even bigger one between, I would say.
There's a bigger one between 9 and
I
8 too.
I will tell
So
you,
just
I don't want to get too into it, but I don't think I've ever, if we're doing this for Zeldas, which next year is the 35th
Mhm,
anniversary of that, so maybe I would pretty
I believe
instantly know
so.
like my number 1, my number 2, number 3. I know all my top Zeldas easily. When I got to this list,
hmm
I figuring out what I was my number 1, I still haven't decided. I have one in there right now, but all of my
Me
top
too. My top
3,
5
all of my
is
top 3 I could easily see moving into that top spot. Easily.
I think my top 5 is pretty interchangeable, but that's what the
Mm.
debates are for. We'll figure it out when we get there, huh?
We shall. So we have let's
So
oh,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
throw out. Oh,
I was
let's
gonna
go on.
recap.
Go ahead.
I was just
You're
gonna
gonna like
recap.
do a
So
rundown. Go ahead.
15, or sorry, Graveyard, Super Mario Brothers The Lost Levels. 15, Super Mario Run. 14, New Super Mario Brothers. 13, Super Mario Land. 12, Super Mario Land 2. 11, Super Mario 3D Land. We have all the lands together. Number 10,
Yes, yes.
Super
There's a
Mario
reason for
Brothers
this.
2, nay, Super Mario Brothers USA, says Derek. Number 9, what is your nominee?
Yes. Well, first I want to say I think we've done well in the bottom half of this list. I think
I'm
all of those
impressed that
games
our
belong there.
bottoms were so similar.
Yes. Well, I mean, come on. I mean, the top of this list is pretty stacked.
Gosh,
So,
it is.
but my number nine is something of a maybe it's a hot take. I don't know, but I think it should be Super Mario
And
Brothers One. I don't think it's aged terribly well. It's fun. It's a
yeah,
very important
yeah.
game,
And we're not ranking
obviously,
on
but
importance, as you said.
no, we're not. We're not. But if you go back and play a Mario game from the NES era, you're not going to play one ever, ever. And if you do, you're going for a speed run record. That's the only reason you would play it.
That's not necessarily true.
So,
I played it a few years ago. I whenever they were releasing these games on 3DS, I played 3 and I finished that, and then I still hungered for more.
right.
So then I played the first one, and I
It,
had a great time with it.
it's a really good game. But I'm saying like if you're comparing NES Mario's, it is never going to beat three ever.
No, no, no,
And
no, no.
that may seem like an
It is
unfair
way too early to
comparison,
even be talking
but
about 3.
right. But what I'm saying is like you if you have a choice between that and something else, like I would never go out of my way to play it. Whereas like something further like let's talk about 3D World or something like I think it is not does not hang with other 3D Mario's, but there is a reason to go back and play it again. Like it has a unique style, whereas Mario 1 is the template, it's the first one, it's the
Yes.
simplest one. So there's no real reason to go back to it unless you want to feel that nostalgia. I don't think it really holds up. I mean, that's wrong. I don't mean to say it like that. I don't think that it's I just don't think it's as good
Well,
as
it's
the other
it's
games
not
left.
as good as the other 2D Marios, and there's no doubt about it. When I was a hipster in high school or whatever, I would say it was the best one. But then when I actually went back and played
Well,
it,
it's not.
like I said, a few years ago on the 3DS, like obviously just from a physics perspective, it's really stiff. Like it does not feel as good as even I mean, it feels better than 2. I was about to be pretty harsh. It feels better than 2, but it doesn't like 3 and World, it doesn't even sniff those in
No, it's
any
not even.
way, shape, or form. I'm gonna offer a different one because I have a different one that I think to me, this list up until 9 is comprised of games.
If you're gonna say if you're gonna say Galaxy 2, I'm gonna
Okay, I'm
strike you
about to say
down.
Galaxy 2 because Galaxy 2 is, in my eyes,
No,
representative of, we can say New Super Mario Brothers represented the factory issue design of Mario in that time period. But Galaxy 2 is very much indicative of the same thing because Galaxy 2 stripped away everything that made Galaxy, or well, many of the things that made Galaxy neat. Galaxy had this hub world with this story that some people seemed to like. It, at least tried. It had each of the worlds was most of the worlds were very big and ambitious and exciting and interesting. And Galaxy 2 took that away. It brought back the streamlined level select menu, which would become the standard bearer for many years for the Mario games, up until
yes.
Odyssey, even. And so, in my eyes, even though I think Galaxy 2 is a great game to play, I do think it's a lot of fun. And at this point, that can be said about all of these
Ah,
games. I just don't think. I think for what it represents to me, I can't rank it above Super Mario Brothers because,
well, here's my argument for it. I feel like the power ups in Galaxy are some of the best in the franchise, so Galaxy 2
man, I
gets
don't
that
agree with
benefit.
that at all.
Eh, Well, I think a lot of them are quite fun.
Yeah, you would
So,
like
and it also
Spring
got
Mario,
Yoshi.
you animal.
Well, that's not the one that I am referring to. I think we all like the B
Yes,
Mario pretty
we
well.
do.
Um, but I feel like the music in Galaxy 2 is like amazing, just like Galaxy 1. I think what was I going to say? That like Yoshi adds a new element to the mix where because I think one of the best things about Galaxy like is just how interesting the gameplay is. And I think Yoshi adds a new wrinkle to that, so I really enjoy that. So I appreciate how varied and interesting Galaxy 2 is. Whereas Super Mario Brothers 1 is just run right, and then sometimes you have a Bowser level or an underwater level.
But it's just such a solid game. And I mean, I know we're not counting importance.
Well, so
We're
is
not counting
Galaxy 2.
importance, but man, I mean, you have to respect that at its time period, how well made it was that it can still be played 35 years later and hold a candle to other 2D platformers. I think it's
I respect
impressive.
it,
I
but
think to
but I
your argument against you, if somebody came to me and talked about playing 3D Mario games, I would never choose Galaxy 2 because
I don't agree
Galaxy
with
2,
that.
while fun, like to me, it's obvious you'd play Galaxy. You know, you'd play Galaxy, you'd play
I would play
64, you'd
Galaxy
play
2.
Sunshine. You wouldn't play Galaxy 2 before those because it's just not as interesting. It's just Galaxy. It's more Galaxy. It's a Galaxy DLC pack. And that's not a bad thing.
Well,
It's
I
not
don't
a
disagree with
bad thing
that, but
necessarily, but it's not.
I disagree with your point about how you wouldn't play like well you may not personally, but when I was playing some Mario games, Mario Galaxy 2 is like the top of my list to replay because I was just wanted to go back and re-experience it. So I think it certainly is better. I would sooner play that than one for sure,
Would you?
even though it's longer. Yeah, I would.
Are you sure?
Uh, yeah, because I think Galaxy 2 is I don't know, it's I just like the varying gameplay pretty well. Like if there's something you don't like, the next level will be different.
Well, yeah, same in New
It's
Super Mario
there's
Brothers.
just
You got the cave level, you got the little the cheap levels,
that's fair.
That's
Look, I understand what you're saying about how it set a bad precedent going forward, but I blame that more on New Super Mario Brothers. And I say that infected Galaxy 2 because Miyamoto didn't like that Galaxy 1 had story, so he decided to strip all
is
that
that
stuff
fact or
out.
fiction? I don't know
So,
if that's true.
yeah, it's just I don't know. Fact checking ruins every podcast, so let's
Okay,
just
fair
assume it's
enough.
true.
Well,
Um, I'm not gonna see it on. I feel like Galaxy 2 should at least be 8.
I have a bigger fight to pick, so again, I'm gonna go ahead and just say Super Mario Brothers. We'll pencil it in. We can revisit this at some point. But Super Mario
Sure.
Brothers classic, and then,
Yeah.
well, can I put Galaxy 2 at 8, or do you have something else you want to put there?
Yeah. Well, I personally has 3D World at 8, but
I'm
I
typing
I
Super
don't
Mario
know
Galaxy 2
what.
into number 8. All right, we can come back to that. So I'm gonna address 3D World now because this is where it's gonna be mentioned, and it's better than Sunshine. Flat out, it's better than
Nope.
Sunshine. It
Nope.
is, and I think, for one, this might be some recency bias, but did you watch the Mario Direct that they published for the All-Star Collection?
I did.
3D World looked way cooler than I remembered it in their trailer. I saw that thing.
Well, 3D World's really cool looking. Like, it's got a good
It
like
has
art
a great
style.
art style, has a great soundtrack, and for me,
Oh,
for
it's one of the best in the
yes, it
franchise.
absolutely is. And I think there are some problems with 3D World. I think obviously that it borrows so much that it does from 3D Land. It is not a challenging game at
Best
all
problem.
until you get pretty far into it and it gets a little more challenging than 3D Land. But I think two things going for that game. One, it is very inventive within its means. Like the diversity of the stages, thinking back to, randomly having that Super Mario Kart level thrown in, which is so cool,
That was
and
a cool
having
level.
all these levels that just really play with these mechanics that they started in 3D Land. I think it's a very compelling game despite its lack of challenge, and I think that the multiplayer element, though troublesome in some ways, for
I don't
me,
like it.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like, I have a lot of really positive memories of playing 3D World on the Wii U with friends. I remember when it came out, I played it by myself and I was enjoying it, and but it didn't necessarily click. And then when I played it with friends, like it just all of a sudden snapped into place for me. And I was like, okay, this is like a really solid 3D Mario game. And is it the 3D Mario that I wanted on the Wii U? No. But I I just think it should be commended for being really it really doesn't have many flaws when you look at it. It's a pretty peerless package.
Well, it's got one. I don't like that some of the later levels require to get all the stupid coins. Like it's not like 3D Land where only one level is unlockable via your
I
coins.
mean,
It's
yes,
like
but
a
there's so
bunch.
many opportunities to
So I
get the
don't like
coins, and
that.
that includes, the Captain Toad bonuses, which were pretty cool. I mean, not my favorite thing, but
They're
that's
neat.
another example of 3D Land was really lacking in the personality area, but I think 3D World did pick
Yes.
up in some places. It
It
picked
has a
up
personality. I
Okay,
would
it
never
picked up
say
with
it
the
doesn't.
soundtrack with the Cat Mario costumes. It picked up with Captain Toad. Think about the Miiverse and how fun that was. Like having those little
R.I.P.
Miiverse postings in front of each stage before you went into it. Like it was just really cool. And
hmm
the multiplayer again, like I know it is flawed. I think specifically whenever I talk about the multiplayer, there's this one stage that uses that traditional Mario trope of where you are jumping and every time you jump it switches a platform back and forth. And they have a stage like
hmm
that in 3D World that matches that to every single person's jump. So you have four people trying to coordinate this, and it's a total disaster.
I
It's a
hate it.
total disaster, but at the same time, I think it's really charming, and I like Sunshine a lot. I have a lot of nostalgia for Sunshine as well. It's the first Mario game that I played at launch. It is one of those early GameCube games that, I think back on my experience with fairly often. But I think that 3D World for what it is about as good as it can be. I think Sunshine for what it is rough enough around the edges that I don't feel comfortable putting it above 3D World.
Um, well, I respect Mario Sunshine a lot. Like, it would have been the easiest thing in the
Oh,
world to come
yes.
out after Mario
It's
64 and go like, let's go
it's
Mario
the Final
64 2,
Fantasy VIII
which
of
they
Mario
tried
games.
to.
Like they obviously could have just
Right.
done the
So
same
I
thing and then they didn't. And that's crazy.
like, yes, and Sunshine plays differently than significantly differently than Mario 64. Something that no one asked or
No.
wanted for,
And
but
that is,
they got.
that's part
And
of its negative reception is that, but
so
I
so I like that it's like legitimately challenging in places because it has like platforming levels that are harder than anything else in the franchise, I would say, outside of like the super secret bonus levels you see in Galaxy 2 and stuff. But that's one of the things I like. It has like the hub world design from Mario 64, which I prefer over the more level oriented design from Galaxy 2 slash 3D World. But and I just dig the whole style and aesthetic of it. It's like the perfect comfy summer game. Like you get yourself like a summer shandy, you plop down on the couch and Mario's got your back. Now the one thing I don't like about it, I do not like the blue coins being a means to get 100% completion. But that is like the one thing I don't
I
like about
think,
Sunshine.
and this is the part where I start tearing down a game I really like and am very much looking forward to playing again when it comes out with the 3D All Stars collection, because it's probably been nearly, well, the game came out in 2002, so I probably haven't played
Yeah,
it in
something
at
like
least
that.
15 years. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Played it two
I'm
years
very
ago.
much looking forward to it. But that said, another thing I give the 3D World is that when I think about what I like about Mario games, part of it is the variety that you get over the course of the game. And though I love
Right.
Sunshine's unified aesthetic, and it's part of what makes it so special, I, you know, you're getting a lot of the same types of content. You're getting a lot of different versions of that island setting, whereas 3D World is just constantly throwing you left like curveballs out of, or hitting things out of left field to you that are just that's a really bad baseball metaphor because you don't hit things out of left field. That'd be violent. But either way, I
Right.
just think that variety makes 3D World a better Mario than Sunshine.
Well, I'm trying to think what I was going to say. Well, it's got Yoshi. I like Mario Sunshine's Yoshi.
Yoshi is not a
Um,
good reason to. We took Yoshi's Island off this list, Derek. Do you want it back?
no. um,
Yoshi is going to feature prominently in
I
probably our number 1 or number 2 game. We'll get to Yoshi. You can't keep using him as an argument.
but it's just so exciting when you unlock
Not
that
in
egg.
Sunshine, it's not.
Um,
Sunshine has the worst
yeah,
Yoshi.
because you see Shadow Bowser running around with the egg. It's like, oh, I know that egg. It's got those spots. It's gotta be Yoshi. Uh, so that's pretty cool stuff. So I think that's enough of a reason to put it above
Man,
3D World.
I don't.
Um,
That is one part that I have a lot of fond memories of Sunshine, but I don't fondly remember the Yoshi stuff. I remember being pretty frustrated as a kid with it, so I'm certainly not going to let the Yoshi argument. It worked for Galaxy 2,
well, if we're going,
not Sunshine.
uh, I mean, Sunshine's got a really bad camera. That is the worst thing about
It
it,
does have a
probably.
bad camera, which
Uh, um, it is notoriously bad. I would say the worst in the franchise, even worse than one of the first 3D platformers ever,
yes,
Mario
Sunshine has
64,
far less of an excuse.
which is bad. Yes, it's got a second analog stick, so it has no excuse.
Yeah.
Um,
uh,
but with I don't know, like when I think if we're nitpicking here, I think the 3D world like level nature of it is what makes me prefer Sunshine. Like I
I
just
know.
don't like the 1-1,
Okay, but
1-2
again,
sort of thing.
either the first or second best Mario game on this list, depending on how this goes, is a level-based Mario game. So I don't think that can be totally held against 3D World.
No, it can't. But I'm saying, like, when I'm looking at 3D Mario's, personally, I prefer the
Yes.
hub design to the level design. Like, for obviously for 2D, you're not going to have the open world thing. So Mario 3 and Super Mario World would not be
In 3D
victims to this, in
World,
my
you can get a
opinion. But
mushroom that duplicates yourself. So you can have like 8 people running around the map, and it is nuts.
that's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. But like, I feel like there are way too many.
Oh,
I
and
don't. Nah, I
power-ups.
can't
And
say. I gotta say
power-ups. Sunshine, no power-ups.
that's a point in its
No,
favor.
it is not a point in its favor. 3D World has great
It's
power-ups.
try new things. It's
Sunshine has
subverted
one power-up,
expectations.
and it's the flood and the different things you
And
get.
then it's got rocket
Yes,
form
yes, it has.
and
Well, yeah, but you only
hover
ever use
form.
hover form.
I
I
use rocket form
sometimes, but
sometimes. You gotta
90%
get
of the time
high.
you just have it in hover form, so you can get away. You get
You gotta
out
shoot stuff.
again. 90% of the time you're in hover mode, and then you switch every once in a while. That's just how Sunshine goes. It's a great game.
I think I prefer Sunshine because it's a hearty single player game, and 3D World is a great game, but I feel like it was made with multiplayer in mind. So if you play by yourself, you're missing a little something
You might be,
total.
and
So based on that, that's why I prefer Sunshine because I'm looking at this thinking I'm playing all these games with myself. Um, that's what I'd prefer. A comprehensive single player experience over a comprehensive multiplayer experience.
I don't think I can budge on this one. I I feel very strongly
Hmm.
about this.
Um,
I think Sunshine is very good, but I think if it's even close to top 5, I think that's too far.
it's not. I have it personally at number
Exactly.
6,
So that's
but
too close. It's too close to.
well, I have 3D World at
I
number
know, and
8.
I
So,
think that's wrong.
um, I mean, I think the game's great. I have nothing against it, but we're nitpicking here. When we're at this point in the list, it's nitpicking time, and I feel like 3D World is made with multiplayer in mind, so that's what hurts it.
But Sunshine is made with environmentalism in mind. Do you really want political messages in your Mario
Yeah,
games?
I
You remember
do.
dirty? You remember clean is better than dirty, and dirty's meaner than clean?
Do you see how dirty Mario's face
It does
gets?
get dirty, and I did like I like the goof.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Petey Piranha. Sunshine brought Petey Piranha to the world.
Oh,
That's bad.
oh no. That
Yeah.
is bad. Oh, we
Oh,
hate
Petey
Petey
Piranha's
Piranha.
terrible. Yeah. Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, um, I think they're close enough where that I'm willing to let you have that based on Petey
Oh,
Piranha being in
good, because that's
Sunshine.
before you remember that Delfinos are added in Sunshine, and they're super awesome.
Delfinos are okay. I don't like him as much as some
Well,
people.
they're fun. They're fun in Mario
The ones that
Baseball.
blindly, the ones that blindly toss you. Oh yeah, the Mario Baseball were the most useless hitters.
Uh,
These
uh,
giant bats that
Dixie
can't hit
Kong.
anything.
Hello.
Just so you people know, if this was based on the spin-offs, Mario Baseball would be the number one game of all
Actually,
time.
the Nokis, which are also from Sunshine, are worse than the Delfinos.
Oh, I don't like the Nokis.
The
So,
Nokis never get picked. The
so
Delfino will at least accidentally get picked because they're a power hitter. And so if you're like really desperate because the
right.
other guy got, you know, Hammer Bro or Bowser, you can be like, oh gosh, I guess I need Delfino.
Yeah, I mean, you need someone that can hit
Yeah.
home
Oh
runs,
well,
even
even
if
if
he
he
can
can't hit
barely
them,
hit.
but he can sure try.
I think
I
Toadsworth is
did
better
see
at hitting home
Delfino hit a home
runs,
run
but
once, and I really thought the game was gonna break.
I also think Mario Strikers for the Wii would have placed on pretty
Absolutely,
high on
it would
this
have.
list if
Yes,
if we got all of them.
absolute.
But
That game was arguably one of the best games on the Wii. Period.
no, I was one of the top 100 players in the world at one point, so that was my one
Yeah.
claim to fame. That and MVP Baseball '05, the
They
only
need to
games I've ever
stop
been good
making
at.
20 versions of Mario Golf and get back to making freaking strikers and baseball.
Make a make a
Yes,
good
because
Mario
they've
Baseball.
made
That'd be
Mario. Every
nice.
time I see someone online say they need to make a new Mario Golf, I just want to strangle them. It's
But
like
there's been
how
so
many
many.
times? Like I like Mario Golf. Don't get me wrong. I've bought every single one of them, but at some point, law of diminishing returns. Those games haven't changed at all, and in fact, I'd argue they've gotten worse. So just give it a break. Give tennis a break. Goodness
Uh,
sakes. go back to
okay.
go back to baseball and soccer.
So let's introduce the last five. I feel like this is probably, if you polled 100 people, this would probably be most of their top
In fact,
five, not
yes,
in
this was
any
both
particular
this was both
order.
of our top fives because yeah, this looks mostly like
Yeah.
my list.
So I will introduce them: Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, and Mario 64. So at
Odyssey.
number five is this. This is a no-win
Oh,
zone.
it's
You're saying
Odyssey.
Odyssey, huh? I think it's
What?
Galaxy.
No, you're joking.
I've, no, no, I'm not.
No, you really?
I,
Because I thought we
yeah,
were going to be duking it out over Galaxy or World as the best one.
nope.
Really?
Galaxy on my
Well,
personal list is number
there is
five.
no situation in this world that I'm going to allow Galaxy to be number five. It's just not going to happen. I would
Okay.
barter Super Mario 3. I would barter 64,
Nope.
but I will not barter
Nope.
Galaxy for 5. No way. What's your reasoning?
Well,
That's insane.
Odyssey is just Mario 64 too, and that's what I wanted out of a Mario game. So, even though I said that I respected Sunshine for what it did, I really, really love Mario 64 and what it like its approach to level design and stuff. And Odyssey is basically that, but expanded upon with how you capture enemies and play as them. Like it's the most diverse playing Mario game. So I just think Odyssey's a
I'm gonna be really
masterpiece.
catty about this.
Um, if it didn't, well, we already talked about 3D World.
Oh,
Oh, I
oh
got
man.
jokes. Um, but I you know I feel like if it had not come out the same year as Breath of the Wild, which kind of ate its lunch, I
I
feel
mean,
like people
it
would
came out like
think of
7 months
Odyssey as an
before, so
all-time
it ate its
classic.
breakfast.
Yes, but but like Breath, when people go Game of the Year, they tend to like focus on one
Yes,
per major console,
sure.
and Breath of the Wild is like a landmark game. So I feel like Odyssey gets overlooked because of that. That's kind of, but As far as why I have Galaxy at 5, like, what can I say? I love the game. I titled this section of my list the Bone Zone because I would bone all of these games. I love them to pieces.
Interesting.
So, so I like, I love Mario Galaxy. It's got fantastic music. It's like the first Mario that actually tries to tell a story. It's, not great, but it tries. Um, it brings us Rosalina, who I love. Is probably my favorite Mario female over Peach. Um, and I think the levels are just really tightly designed. Like it's the path to stars is just really well thought out, and the later parts of the game, like the Luigi's purple coins or whatever, those are like satisfyingly challenging. I think it is a masterpiece of a game, but I think Odyssey is slightly better because it just feels really inventive while also hitting the level design stuff I really enjoy.
Okay. Well, before I start to barter, I'm gonna be really mean to
Yeah,
Odyssey, which is a game that is in my top five, so obviously I like it quite a bit too. That said, I think there's something to be said for the fact that Galaxy has a defined number of stars that you can get, whereas Odyssey has, seemingly countless moons. And I think
that's
in
fair.
if you're talking about collectathons, part of the appeal of like, for example, Banjo-Kazooie, one of my favorite games ever, it's 100 jiggies, and you
Ooh.
memorize some of those jiggies, and it's a really special experience. But when you play Odyssey, granted, you remember some of those challenges, but there are so many moons that at some point it does start to devalue each collectible.
Well, you can get them
You
all
can you can
still.
get
I mean, there's
999.
like you can, but there's like a finite number of ones that you get by
Yes,
not
I
buying them.
understand that,
Like,
but there's so many, and so many of them are just
well, I look at it like this. Like, I think we both love Banjo Kazooie. I look at Odyssey as the perfect Banjo Kazooie game.
no, it's not because Banjo-Kazooie is better.
No,
I l- no,
let's not
I
get
like
crazy
Odyssey
here.
quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, and I think Odyssey's strong suit is the the critical path going through that game. You know,
Hmm.
the boss battles, some of the different things you have to do in your quests on your way, some of the different puzzles you have to solve with the capture mechanic. The music, those things to me,
Yeah,
the festival, those are what make Odyssey a standout Mario because those moments are really awesome. But when you finish that game, the act of lingering around and collecting more moons is not as fun as it is in a game like, 64 or Galaxy or even
I don't
Sunshine.
know if I
Really.
agree because the extra moons you get at the end of Odyssey are challenging. Like they encourage you to use the game's physics in different ways than you do throughout. Like it's like the bonus levels in 3D Land if they were actually hard. Like there's some actually challenging moons you can get. Um, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, here's what we should do. We should form a treaty right here. Because there's no way
Okay.
Galaxy's 5. You're not gonna budge on Odyssey.
Not putting Mario 3 at not putting
Why
Mario 3
not?
at
Why,
5.
why,
Just because
why'd you put Mario Brothers 3 at 5? Come on, it's right there.
I knew that's what you were gonna target next. That's just
How
not
is
gonna
that not gonna
happen.
happen? It's clearly the next one to
It's
go.
no, like the next one to go is Mario Galaxy.
Oh,
um,
oh,
Mario 3 is my number three,
your number
so
3? What's your number 4?
yeah. Odyssey.
You out of your mind? What is wrong with you?
I've. What do you mean? What's wrong with me?
It
Mario
is
3 is an all-time
no, but
classic. I can be anywhere at any time and I can play it, and it's like comfort food. It's like Donkey Kong Country in that regard. Like it is the perfect game
Galaxy is so
that two games are above.
Galaxy is so good that it overcomes being on the Wii. It overcomes motion controls. It overcomes the graphical limitations of the Wii. That is a standout game. It is it
It is. It's great.
when it was added to this 3D All Stars collection, they didn't need to do anything to it because it was already perfect. They didn't need to touch it.
Well, they could have added. They
It
could have added
might be the
Yoshi.
#1 game on this list.
No,
Absolutely. I can't believe this. I thought this was for sure a discussion between Mario World and Galaxy for #1.
it's not for me personally. I maybe I need to replay Galaxy.
Well, you're going too
Um,
soon.
but yeah, I am going too soon. That's a good point. But I just to me Mario Galaxy is great. It's just hard to nitpick it at certain points, you know? Like let's like the worst power up in Odyssey is the like the statue with the
Hmm.
shades, right? Is that what I'd say the worst power up in Galaxy is the Spring Mario,
Yeah.
which I think is worse than the
The
statue
slow
with the
moving
sunglasses.
statue? You think the
Yeah,
spring
I'd
is
rather
worse
have
than the
that
slow?
because you can jump out of the statue and go platforming
Well,
again.
the spring is
You can't.
platforming. Your platforming is the spring.
Right, right, but it's less fun than as normal
Okay,
Mario.
again, time out. Let's talk about Mario Brothers 3 and why it belongs
No,
at either #5 or #4 at best. It's a good game.
okay,
I obviously at this point
yes.
they're all great games. All some of my favorite games ever. Super Mario Brothers 3 on the back end, the last few worlds are a chore. They
No.
after you get past the world where everything's big or small,
Well, that's all you need to put it like at
I
number 3.
understand.
World
I
4 is a
understand that's a very
masterpiece.
great world. But once you get to like 6, 7, and 8, it really starts to test your patience. And although I like a little bit of challenge, I think Mario 3 pushes it a little too far.
Well, look, I will grant you that I do not like puzzle levels where you have to like find the correct route to go, otherwise it'll
Yes,
like
those are
loop you.
bad.
And Mario 3 has a few of those
Oh,
late that I
also,
really dislike.
Frog Mario, not a great power up.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. It
Yeah,
looks really cool, but Mario 3 also has Hammer Brothers Mario and Tanuki and Raccoon. Um, 3 all-time
but it
classics in
pioneered
my
the world
opinion.
map mechanic that would so plague the new Super Mario Brothers games.
So so it's like a game that came out like 15
Yes,
years later.
you can look back and blame Mario
well,
3 for pioneering that.
well, Mario 3 is the type of game where if you're really good, you can zoom through it, or you can take your time. Well, this is a
Yeah,
bad
it sure
argument.
is. Yep.
Um, yeah, so you can delete
No,
that.
or keep it in.
Um, um, trying to think of. um, Mario 3 is what brought us the Nintendo Directs that we so
Is it?
love.
Oh, the
Um,
wizard.
the Wizard was the first
That's an
Nintendo
argument
Direct.
against it.
Um, no, The Wizard is a fantastic movie. They go to
They
California.
do. They
That's,
do.
that's all I can tell you about it.
I like Mario 3 a
Um,
lot. Again, it's very fun. But I
Mario 3 is easily the best
well,
NES Mario.
yeah.
Like, it's not
Yes.
even close.
We're not discussing that.
Um,
That's a foregone conclusion. We didn't even need to do this to do that. We could that's just granted. Like, man, look at the box alone. You look at the box and go, man, that is better than these other Mario
like,
games.
okay, but even if you don't like the later half of the game, like, I feel like there are probably levels in Galaxy where it's kind of a
No.
pain at times.
No.
Like,
Galaxy just
no?
gets better the more you play. Yeah.
Yeah?
Should
Okay.
we invert this and start at #1 and work our way backwards? Or is that madness?
Oh boy.
Because
That's
then I
gonna be
think we're just talking
trouble
about Super
because
Mario
our
World.
no, because my #1 is not Super Mario World. It's Mario
Dude.
64.
What are you even doing here?
I love Mario 64. I think it is the perfect video game.
It's very, very good. I it's I
There are two worlds that I don't love, and that is
Wet
it.
Dry
That is
World
the only parts of that game I don't love.
and what's
Correct.
the
What's the other one?
big small? What's the one? It's
Nope. That's good. That's a
oh,
good one.
the
I'll give you.
rainbow, not the rainbow ride,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Rainbow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can never.
Whatever
I
it's
hate it. I
called.
always skip it. I skip it. No.
That's not a fun one, but and I also think the 100 coin star / 8 red coins there is kind of a pain. But I think that is like the perfect game.
Okay, this was a
So
bad idea. I can't give you Galaxy at 5. Super Mario
okay, how
Brothers
about
3.
this? I'll put
All right,
Odyssey at 5,
sounds like a plan to me. I had
but
already typed it. I'll just retype it.
Galaxy at 4,
Okay. Well,
but
I'm not sure about
Galaxy
that.
at 4. And then we talk about the merits of Mario 3 versus Super Mario World for 3 and 2.
There's no discussion to be had there. I'm sorry. For a long time,
Well, I've got Mario World at 2,
a
so
Super Mario
I'm on
World
your side.
naysayer. For some reason.
Super
But
Mario
let me
World's a
tell you, every
fantastic game.
single year when I think, oh, I really want to play Mario, you know what game comes to mind? It's Super Mario World. It's not
Mario World.
3, it's not 2, it's not Odyssey. It's always Super Mario World. So that one has to be 2 at bare minimum. There's no way that it's not 2. I'm gonna
I
put it
agree
in
with
for
that.
2.
I
We're gonna
have
have
it. I have it at 2 on
we're
my
gonna have
list.
I'm gonna have it at 2, but I'm gonna put a little question mark next to it because it should at least be number 1. So I'll also put it at number 1, just in just in
Super Mario
case.
World /1. Um, I always have fond memories of this because a couple of friends of mine had like dates that they tried to impress by showing them that I could beat Mario World really quickly. I don't know what they were thinking by doing that, but that's what they did.
Well, it's very impressive, and
Yeah,
it's worth celebrating. When I got my Super Nintendo Classic,
for sure.
that was the first thing I did was bust out Mario World, and I finished it in an hour. And man, that felt good.
Well, I like that you can take the Star Roads to beat
Yeah,
the game
or
really
not, or you can take
quickly,
your time.
or you can just like take the scenic route. You can do what you want. I feel like the only like world I don't love is the forest one, and that's just because I just don't like puzzle design in my platformers. But if you know where the hidden exits are, it's really not bad.
So
So,
let me
um,
throw this by you. What about Super Mario Brothers 3 at 4, Galaxy at 3, and then we can duke it out for these last two.
um, yeah, I
Okay,
can go with
because
that.
that's you know Super Mario Brothers 3, great little game.
I think Mario Brothers
Mario
3
Galaxy,
is.
maybe actually the best game on this list. So 3, possibly
I don't
robbery,
agree with
but
that.
it can go there. I
Well, I am willing to do this because I feel like the 3D Mario games are better overall.
I
So
agree with you. I agree with you.
I'd rather have this like 3D, 2D, 3D sort of
Yes.
mix. So that's the only reason I am willing to cede Galaxy over Bros
Okay.
3. But
So we'll get into the heavy hitters. So Mario World and Mario 64. The most probably the most boring number 1 and number 2, because obviously those are number 1 and number 2. Or
I
I had
disagree
Galaxy at
because I think the boring choice is
I
Mario
had
3 at
Galaxy
number
at
1.
2,
Because if you go
but
look at
neither here nor there.
well,
Were you saying 3 is
the
the
I think 3 is the boring choice for number
well,
1. If you look at game publications, they always say it's like the greatest game of all
I
time.
just don't think after playing
Or
I don't
Zelda
see how
1.
you could play 3 and World together and think that 3 is better than World.
They're pretty
They're very
close in
close, but
quality, I
I mean
think.
World is just what a fan what a
World's great.
and this is the most galling thing, and I always think about this when it comes to World, is reading that Console Wars book, which is a fantastic book, and they're talking about
Yeah, it's okay.
the people at Sega when they played the Super Nintendo for the first time, and they were so excited because Mario World was just like the other Marios. And it's such a weird anecdote because Mario World is like the other Marios, but it's like them, but just better. Like it is.
Oh, Mario, yeah, Mario World's also way better than any
Oh,
Sonic the Hedgehog game.
bar
Like I love
none.
Sonic, but
It
it's just the way
to
it
me, as
is.
someone who would say that platformers is my favorite genre, but also really loves adventure games, Mario World takes both of those things and melds them into a beautiful creation, right? It's got some wonderful
Oh,
platforming, some of the best, sharpest platforming ever. It's got
mm,
some very interesting, challenging levels that are just pure
sure.
platforming. But then it has the woods, which is a fun bit of adventure
Wispy
game
Woods.
thrown in the mix there. It's got the Star Road, so you have all those secret exits, and figuring those out is a lot of fun. You have your
Well, and I've used it as a reason before, but it's got
it
Yoshi.
has Yoshi, which so does 64, but in a very different way. A very different
Different
way.
way.
Um, it has the switch palaces that you find that can add to your adventure, or you can just ignore them and make it more challenging for yourself. Like it has so many moving pieces, and you can really just get whatever you want out of it. Like I said, when I got my SNES Classic, I started that game and I thought, I don't want to play through the game proper. I just want to, get a taste, go through, fight Bowser, be done with it. Or the other day, or recently, a few months ago actually, I started it again. And I was like, this time I want to go at a leisurely pace and actually go through it and go through the whole process.
Hit those switch
Yeah, I want to get
palaces.
everything. I want to have a completionist view. And there's really no bad way to play it. You can, every way is going to be rewarding no matter what.
And when you get the 100% completion, you get a fall theme for your travels.
It's got it's got a
It's
lot
kind of
going for
cool,
it. I can't
for sure. But you're talking about adventure. Mario 64 is all about exploration and adventure.
it it
So it's like exploring a castle and finding like where the stars
oh
are, and
man, it's really
it's
hard
just
for me to
neat.
say anything bad about Mario 64. I really can't think of
Well,
much.
I will say when I first saw it, my mind was completely blown. I could not
Yeah,
believe graphics
it's
like that
almost
good were
impossible
possible.
to divorce yourself from that because, even like the stupidest little
I
things
think,
like that, the fact that they started the 3D All-Stars trailer with that noise followed by
yeah,
that cover of the Mario soundtrack,
that's iconic.
I was
Where,
like, it just immediately took me back to the Air Force Base BX, walking by
yeah,
walking by the
exactly.
64 setup and seeing the Mario face and seeing somebody playing with it blows
Yeah, that was cool, man.
it even today, even though obviously games have improved in so many ways, I can't help but feel that same way. I get taken back. I just think what a
Yeah, yeah.
what a phenomenal achievement this game is.
Well, it was certainly it was a something special, and it we agreed that importance is not
No,
a thing here, but this like sets a standard in
no,
for
but it
3D
also explains
platformers.
at least some of the affinity that we both have for it is always going to be
Right.
tied back to that experience and having getting our 64 and I think we rented this game before we owned it. You know,
We rented the N64 and this
okay,
game
right.
before
So,
we
but
owned it.
renting this game and playing it
So
just being totally unlike anything we'd played before, and just how they nailed every aspect of it, going from 2D to 3D. The controls still feel just about perfect, right? I mean,
yeah, well, I think it's got the best music in the franchise.
it.
Like it's all
I don't. I don't know about
just great.
that. It does have very good music, and I prefer its music to Worlds. I think the 3D Mario's just in general have much better music than the 2D Mario games.
I do too. I actually think Worlds takes a step back from Mario 3 in the soundtrack
I,
department.
I probably agree.
But
64 has it has probably one of the best video game tracks of all time with Dire Dire Docks, and that
it's yes, and
alone
it's
is
got
enough to
the
elevate
best.
it pretty high.
It's got the best power up of the franchise, the
It
wing
does have a
cap.
wing cap, which is hard to argue against.
Uh, I think the best first world, Bob on Battlefield, I think it surpasses one
Do you
dash
think it
one.
surpasses Mumble
Like it's
Mountain?
just uh it's close. I
Is
think
Banjo-Kazooie the best Mario
I
game of
think
all time?
the answer is yes, it is. Um I think um really the first half, like every like the first 10 worlds of Mario 64 are all fantastic. Like the first one that's like unfun to play in parts is wet
Yes.
dry world. Um and I just like don't like that because I don't like swimming levels in general. But this even has swimming worlds I like uh the what which one we were talking about, the one with the pirate
Dire
ship,
Dire Docks.
Dire Docks. Yeah,
That's a great
that's
level.
fun.
It's got the eel. Grab the
Yeah.
star off his tail.
hmm Like even in Super Mario World, I don't love the water levels, but there are a couple water levels in Mario 64 I
I
don't
don't
hate.
mind the war. The only levels that I would look at World and say this could be better would be the Boo houses. Because
Oh, oh, just for the boo houses, I want to knock it down.
I I
I hate
don't
boo
like the
houses,
Boo
but
houses. I know they're very well
this
beloved,
is
but
this is just a me problem, though. I understand that maybe I'm in
well,
the wrong,
it's
but it's
just
part of
not.
my I don't like
It's
puzzles
not
in my
necessarily what we
platformers.
come to a Mario game for. It's the same way that you were talking about those mazes in Mario 3, or where they first got popularized in the first Mario Brothers, where
Oh yeah, those
it's
my
a
least
neat
favorite.
mechanic, but it's like to me it's just not fun at all, and that's kind of
I don't find it challenging. I find it annoying is
yes,
the problem. Like it's like looking for the correct route in a 2D
yes,
plane is
and
not
that's the same
thrilling.
issue with the Boo houses for me. Is just
Yeah, it's because it's like looking for the PAL block and then like looking for where
eh,
do you use
like I
it.
said, I
And
like the adventure game elements of World, but I don't
I
mean in
do
that
too,
not
but
the
I just
Boo
don't like the
houses. I
boo
don't think
houses.
to me execute it in a way that's very fun. Like the platforming
I think the
is
hidden
not
I think the hidden exits are okay because you might be able to stumble upon
right.
them.
Or you might,
Like that's
just be
part of
taking
the.
your wing cat,
But
your cape, and you're flying up to the sky, and you just, suddenly find a pipe that leads up. And you're like, whoa, what's that? So that's more interesting in
right.
exploration, since the Boo houses aren't really about exploration as much as they are just, you know, trying this maze over and over and over again until you figure out what the developers intended for you to find out.
Um, I guess I on an unintentional level, I think that it's cool that you can like break Mario 64. I've liked the speed running scene around it based upon like getting 0 stars and beating the game. I think
Well,
that
gosh,
sort of stuff's
and
really
beating it
neat.
without
It
jumping.
does right, like or just like the idea of backwards long jumps is just cool to me.
And I
So
have to say that I think the Bowser fight in World is awesome. I love the music. Everything about that fight I think is super cool. But man, there's
I don't
something about the Mario 64 Bowser encounters.
know. You
There's just
tossing them.
something, and I think it's partially, again, tying back to the importance of the game. You can't underestimate how much that mechanic would have been just crazy at the time. Because here you are running around the back of this enemy in 3 dimensions, right? Then you're grabbing him and you're
hmm
spinning him with an analog stick and then releasing him into the distance. And all of that just, seemed so crazy at the time. And it's just, I mean,
Yes,
it feels really good to twirl him by the tail and,
it
when you're doing
does.
that last boss fight and there's less bombs to work with. So, you might be doing it multiple times to actually successfully finish him off. And when you land that finishing blow, it just feels really great. When he lands on his
Right.
shell and you can climb on his belly, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's neat. I mean, I enjoy the mission structure of Mario 64. I like how you can find stars out of
Right.
order and it feels like an achievement.
And I mean, I
Like,
don't I think I don't want to get into current games, but Mario 64 I feel like is a game that's just going to benefit so much from this re-release because when you think about it, even though it was on the 64, it's really designed the way that a portable game should be, where it's got these really
Yes.
bite-sized chunks. You could, in theory, play for 10 minutes, do a star mission on, say, Bob-omb Battlefield, and really get your fill. So I think it's, weirdly enough, a game that I know a lot of people will say that it's aged poorly. I think they're crazy. I think
I don't
graphically,
agree.
obviously, it doesn't look super sharp,
And the
and the
camera's
camera's
bad.
rough around the edges, no doubt. But I mean, I think mechanically it's so sound that in some ways it just gets
Right?
better with time. And I think,
Yeah, every time I've played it since it's come out, I've
and
liked it
releasing
more
on
and
the
more.
Switch, I think
So,
it's going to be the best version of the game, period. Like the DS version was
right.
cool, but it was not Mario 64. It was a different it was a
Change
different
some
game. It
things.
changed a lot of things, and it got worse in some ways. This, I think, is just going to make it better and make it shine even more. And you can't really say the same for World. I mean, it's been re-released so many times now that it's hard to say that the Switch is where it's really going to break through and be at its best.
Yeah, and it's we all know it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, um, I will say one thing in favor of 64 over World again, is I think Mario the early Mario games kind of fall into a trap like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy where they've got the same type of levels over and over again, the
Hmm.
same backgrounds. And I think Mario World has that. This is very nitpicky. Like it's not like unfun, but you have like a cave level, a water level, a ghost level, a level with like auto scroller with bridges of some sort that collapse, and you got like a forest
Right.
level, and you deal
But
with
it
that a
is
lot.
all, at least it's not like
Or
Crash. They're all tied together and they build on
oh
each
yeah, I
other.
mean they're different. They're distinct and different. Like I could confuse. Like if you showed me like one of the medieval outdoors levels from Crash 3, I couldn't tell you which one it was. But if you show me one of like the world from Mario World, I have a pretty good idea of where it is in the game. I think so. But Mario 64 has a lot of variety in like the world. Like each one is distinct and has different. Like you get around them in
Yeah,
different ways.
I mean, you have TikTok clock platforming inside of a giant clock. You have
Yeah, and how you enter the level completely changes
oh
how the
yeah,
level works. It either is stopped or slowed down time or speed up time. Like it's a kind of interesting that like the first big successful 3D platformer had that. Um, I feel like the way this conversation is going, Mario 64 has got to be number one.
I tend to agree. And I think in a lot of ways, I think you have to consider the fact that I think we both agree in general the 3D Mario games are just better than the 2D Mario games as a
Yeah,
whole.
I think as
And
a
I
whole,
think
yes.
this would represent that pretty well, having 64 at the top as the progenitor of the 3D Mario, having World there.
Boy, talk about a
I
nostalgia
know.
boomer pick. Mario
Well,
64
I
at the
mean,
top.
Mario World's just, that's a nostalgia Gen Xer pick. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, either way, I feel like a nostalgia pick, but really do
no,
feel
and
like Mario 64 and World are both
I think
perfect
it
games
says
and
something
what
that
they're
with
trying to do.
this 3D collection coming out, mentioning it again, the game that I absolutely am going to play first is 64. Like Galaxy, I love,
Same.
but it's not the first one I want to play. I like Sunshine.
I beat 64 last year, and it's the first one I'm going to. So it's just a great
Yeah, I
game.
think it has, despite the platform, despite the way it looks, despite the camera issues,
Despite the
despite the
controller.
controller, I think it has aged very well.
I would even say the N64 controller was designed around Mario
It was
64.
to the detriment of everything else.
Yes, it was unfortunate that's the way it was done, but hey, I think the GameCube controller was made after Melee, so
GameCube controller is amazing, and that's not an argument. We won't have that argument.
no,
Yeah,
I like it too. I like it too, but
yeah,
that one, yeah. But yeah, this I do feel like the 64 controller was made for Mario 64, and as a result, it is that and Ocarina of Time are the two games I feel benefit from that control pad, and that's it.
yeah. Well,
And Majora's Mask.
I think the wrestling games may do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it did fine,
So
but I mean, those would have been replicatable on the PlayStation. So why don't you read our list from 15 to
Yeah.
1,
All right.
or slash
So this is
dishonorable
the
mention?
scientific official ranking of Mario's. This is not disputed. This is going to the archives, National Archives, to be registered and made canonical.
Go to the
Yes, the
Library of
Library of Congress,
Congress.
rather. Sorry. So number 15, Super Mario Run, the 15th best Mario game of all time. Doesn't doesn't sound right.
Congratulations.
This really shouldn't. Can we reinstate Yoshi's Island?
we, we, we have decided that the 15th best is Arrow
Oh
the
dear.
Acrobat.
Dynamite
Welcome.
Heady, number 4. All right, number 14, New Super Mario Brothers, all of them together because they're the same.
Yes.
13, Super Mario Land. 12, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. 11, Super Mario 3D Land. Number 10, Super Mario Brothers 2, Nay, USA. Number 9, Super Mario Brothers. Number 8, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Number 7, Super Mario Sunshine. Eat it, nerds. Number 6, Super Mario 3D World. Number 5, Super Mario Odyssey. Number 4, Super Mario Brothers 3. Number 3, and what is probably Highway Robbery, Super Mario Galaxy. Number 2, I
Hey,
know I
you
did.
agreed to it.
Number 2, Super Mario World. And number 1, Super Mario 64. And that is official. It cannot be. I'm highlighting it in yellow. It cannot be undone. We all know that once something is highlighted in yellow, it sticks. Yeah,
It's over. I think this is a
I do
solid
too.
list.
All right, Derek. Well, you have any final thoughts on Super Mario and this list?
Um, well, I think the SMB like abbreviation should be given to Super Meat Boy, the true
Oh,
best one of those.
oh no. Oh, okay,
No, I
good,
don't really
good.
believe that.
Oh, yikes.
No, no. I enjoy Mario games, and I hope that you have come away from this
Yes, I hope.
knowing
Well,
what the best
yeah,
15
I
are.
hope you now have settled into this reality because this is a fact. So you can't do anything. So even if you were like silly and thought Galaxy 2 is
Yeah,
the best game, you know, you'd be wrong. And we would have this list, and I'm gonna keep this
yeah.
Google Doc. I'm gonna
I can point it to you and say, well, it says right here
Right, yeah, I'm gonna keep
that
this Google
Galaxy
Doc at
2 is
all
the eighth
times so
best
that when
one.
I'm in public, I
So
can point to this
you're
and say,
wrong.
yeah, well, okay, you're wrong. This is not true. You're you're just incorrect. This is the best.
You're
Mario 64 is the
incorrect.
best one. It's highlighted in yellow. Everything else, there's some wiggle room, but that is
That
highlighted
means
in
it's the
yellow. You
best.
can't touch it. It can't be done. All right, well, thank
Cannot
you
be
for
done.
joining us for this very analytical approach to ranking these Mario games. Can't believe we made it without killing each other. I really thought we had something going there with the Galaxy
Yeah.
situation. I thought that was about to be a real derailing moment, but we powered through.
Well,
You did. I
I
played the long
compromised, but I
game when
got
I
my
gave
number
you
one, so I'm
Mario Land
okay.
2. Just remember that. I was playing
Sure.
four-dimensional chess, making sure I could get Galaxy at least a top 3 where it belongs. At least. But anyways, thank you for joining us on All of the Day After Dark. Enjoy, and we will see you later.